In this video, I will show you step by step how to build a simple and beautiful dashboard for your Bubble app. We're going to build a responsive sidebar using conditions, import our own icon set, and display user-specific data. This will ensure your software looks professional and stands out to the user. So let's jump right into it. All right, so let's start off with creating the sidebar for our dashboard. And since we don't want to create the sidebar for every page, we are going to create a reusable element. So come over here and add a new reusable element. We're going to call that sidebar. And for the sizing, we can start with 280 in width and height is 900. And let's start by adding our logo section. So I'm going to include an image of the actual logo favicon. Actually, we can go ahead and set the layout to column of the sidebar. So we have all our elements stacked from top to bottom. And I'm going to upload the logo over here. Image logo. Layout, let's set this to 32 pixels and keep the aspect ratio fixed. So we have 32 times 32. And we also have a logo text. Our app is going to be called Flow. I'm going to set this to 18 pixels and also set it to semi-bold. And both of those I want to have side by side, but over here we have a column group. So I just select both by holding Shift and I can right click group elements in row container. And just by that, we have created a new group. And in this group, all elements are within the row, so side by side. I'm going to call that group logo. For the layout, I'm going to use 40 pixels in height for all our menu items. And I'm just going to vertically align both elements to the center. And last part, I also want to give those some breathing space by applying some gap space of the column. Let's use 12 pixels. Yeah, so there we have our logo section. On the sidebar itself, let's give it some top padding, 48. Let's do 24 bottom and 20 left and right. So all our elements have a little bit of spacing on the sidebar. Let's now build our first menu item. So the first page of our dashboard will be the actual dashboard page. So yeah, I'm gonna add the text dashboard here. Let's make it 16 pixels. And I'm also gonna make that medium. And I'm gonna give it an icon. Now, in terms of icons, you have many options here. You can either bring your own icon set, which I will do. You can also go ahead and install a plugin, for example, material icons. Then you have some sort of predefined icons over here. But obviously the most variety of design you have with bringing your own icons. There is some kind of advantage over here, which we will later see. So over here, if you're using a plugin, you usually can bring in your own or just put in the icon color over here, and then you can switch it out later on. With bringing your own icons, the way I do it, it is in a fixed color. So let's bring in the first icon over here for the dashboard. I'm going to use an image element and import the icon as SVG. So that is our dashboard icon. Width and height, we do 24 pixels. And also those elements I want side by side. Actually, the dashboard goes below the icon. Gonna select both items again, group them in a row container. And we're gonna use 44 pixels in height. Let's do that for the logo as well. And again, give those some breathing space. So apply gap space in between elements and gonna vertically align both. And I'm gonna call the group dashboard. I also want to give some left and right spacing over here for this group. So let's do padding left and right of 12 pixels. And to center align both the favicon and this logo, I'm going to go ahead and select 8 pixels left and right here. So yeah, those should be perfectly aligned. On this part over here, let's also do some spacing in between those two groups. So we have the group logo and the group dashboard. In the layout section, I'm going to apply some row gap of, let's start with 24 pixels and we're gonna see from there. So yeah, there we have it, our first element of the sidebar. We can now go ahead and actually create a page. Let's add a new page called dashboard. I'm going to use a width of 1400 and height, let's do 900. Actually, let's do 800. Works better with my screen size here, but it doesn't matter because in the end, it will adapt to the content over here. I wouldn't go ahead and just place a reusable element right here because the way the site is built, we have the sidebar on the left side and we have our content on the right side. Now, if we scroll through the right, we still want the sidebar to stick to our screen. So I'm not just gonna place the sidebar as a reusable element right over here. I'm gonna set a floating group, place it inside of here. We can also go for the dashboard, and I'm also going with a column over here. And let's also do the floating group, 280 times 900. We go for a column. So it's not just 900, it is 100% of the page height. And within this floating group, it is gonna stick to our screen. So floating group sidebar. And within this floating group, we can place our reusable element, which is the sidebar. We find it down here and we can just go ahead and place it inside here. Perfect. I'm gonna go over here in percent, 100%. For somehow Bubble has this bug of not showing it. I'm just gonna reload the page. Yes, it is now showing up our sidebar. One last thing, I also want to go back to the sidebar and want to create a little border on the right side. So we have a little separation here. Let's define each border independently. And on the right side, we're gonna place a solid border. Yeah, I'm gonna add a color variable. And this new color I'm adding, let's call it stroke. We use it for all our strokes. It's just gonna be E5 across. E5, E5, E5. Back to our design. I'm going to use the stroke color, this newly created color variable. I'm going to use it here. So we have a little border on the right side and we should now see it on our dashboard. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, let's open up the brief view and there it is. I'm going to remove the debug mode by everything that's this part, just remove it, refresh it. And there we are. The first elements of our sidebars are showing up. So for those elements on the sidebar, the menu items, we have different kind of designs. So we have this unselected style, which is basically just a gray color when we are not on the actual subpage. But I want to go ahead and highlight it in blue when we are on the dashboard page. So we're gonna have multiple items down here. For the dashboard page, this should actually go ahead and highlight it since we are on that page and we want to give the user the feedback. So let's go back to our sidebar. And I forgot a thing. I forgot to color the text because this color over here, I called it an unselected color. And I'm going to add a new color variable. And let's call this one unselected, which basically means this is the color when we are not on this page, when the menu item should not be selected. I want to color it like this. So we have the text in unselected. And I also colored this icon over here in the unselected. So this is basically icon unselected. And now when we are on that page, remember we want to display it blue. So how are we going to do that? I want to go ahead and color, first of all, the background in a light blue when we are on the dashboard page. We can do that by adding a conditional up here. So for the group dashboard, we're going to place the conditional, define another condition. When the current page name, which is somewhere down here, let me type in name. So when current page name is dashboard, I'm just going to write it out. So it's in quotation marks over here and it has to be exactly this part over here. So I called the page dashboard. This is case sensitive. It has to be exactly this word. So what do we want to change when the current page name is dashboard? We want to change the background. First of all, change the background style to a flat color and then change the background color to a I'm going to use my main accent color, my primary color, but just 10% of it to like very subtly show that. Let's see how that actually looks, if that works. So yeah, since we are on the dashboard page, this group is now highlighted in blue. I also want to go ahead, color the dashboard text itself blue, and I want to also color the icon in our accent color. First of all, I also would like to, instead of having these sharp edges, we're gonna give it some roundness. So let's select the dashboard group, go to appearance, and we have roundness over here. Let's start with 8, just to see how that looks now. Yeah, we have our nice rounded corners. What we can do is we can just go to the group dashboard conditional, and we can just right click, copy the expression, and we're gonna use the same thing for the text dashboard. So we're gonna define another condition when we just paste the expression. So when the current page name is dashboard, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to color our font instead of unselected, we're using the primary color. So now we have also colored the actual dashboard font, the text itself. But as I said before, with the icons, the issue is that we cannot go inside here and if we bring our own icons, just switch the color. So the workaround that I use is just import another image, which will be just import the icon again. I have it over here. I have like all of the icons in a selected color, so in our blue color, and in the unselected one, the grayish color that we already have imported. So let me go ahead and import the selected color. This will be icon selected. And we use the same settings. We go ahead with 32, keep aspect ratio fixed. Oh no, it's 24, excuse me. And we place it inside here and also vertically aligned. So now we have both of these icons, but of course we don't want to show both icons. So we have to go ahead and set another condition. So let's copy the conditional first of all. And then we go ahead to the selected one, paste the expression. So what are we going to do? We change the visibility. So this element is visible. When the current page name is dashboard, we want this element not to be visible. So we're gonna unselect it here. And this icon over here, by default, this element is visible on the page load. We're not gonna select that because we not want this icon to be visible by default. This is our default icon. We only go ahead in the conditional when the current page name is dashboard. We're gonna make this element visible. So we now have both icons. One is not visible when the current page name is dashboard, and one is visible when the current page name is dashboard. So let's see if the right icon is showing. Yes, so we have the right icon showing. You see the other icon is still causing a gap here. And to fix that, we just need to select the icon to layout section, and we need to select collapse when hidden. So whenever this element is not visible, we also want to collapse the group to not cause any spacing. We're gonna select same over here on this selected group, and let's just display both of those. And when we now refresh it, yes, that's the way we want it to look. We have our dashboard page and we have everything selected since the current page name is dashboard. So let's now go ahead and create the other menu items for the other sub pages of our dashboard. I first wanted to finish this first menu item because then we can now go ahead and just duplicate this menu item, and we already have all the settings duplicated, so we don't have to recreate it all the time. So the other sub pages will be clients, projects, and tasks. And let's go ahead and also name the group clients. I'm gonna make all the icons visible over here so we can work with them. Group projects and group tasks. And I'm now gonna switch out all of the icons. We have the clients unselected, clients selected, projects unselected, projects selected, and last but not least, the task section. We still have this 24 gap spacing from the main group, but let's create another subgroup by selecting all of those menu items. And I'm gonna place those in another column container so we can apply a different gap spacing. I'm fine with 12 here. So we have some visual hierarchy. There's a little bit more spacing between the logo and all the menu items are sitting closer together. We now also have to switch out the conditionals since this is still saying current page name is dashboard. I'm gonna switch it out over here. For this group, we have current page name is clients. I'm gonna copy the expression and paste it into the logos, or into the icons. And I'm gonna do that for the projects and task group as well. So over here for the projects, current page name is projects. Copy the expression, paste it to the icons, and same for tasks. Current page name is tasks. Copy the expression and paste it to the icons. Yeah, I actually made a mistake. I also have to paste it to the text because we're also making some changes to the text. We're switching out the font color. So yeah, also for the text, current page name is tasks. Current page name is, I'm gonna write that out, projects. So yeah, we have now created our 4 groups over here, dashboard, clients, projects, and tasks, and have switched out the conditionals. So we want to manipulate the design based on the conditional if it's true or false. We can now go ahead and create the other pages, but before that, I want to add some content to our dashboard page. So let's add another group here. On the right side, it's our group main, and I'm just gonna make this full height. So I'm gonna increase that to 100% of the screen. I'm gonna set a left margin of 280 so we have it right next to our sidebar. And in this group main, you would later on and place all of the different content that you actually have on the dashboard page. But yeah, I'm just gonna place in some placeholders. Let's create a title for our main page is dashboard. I'm gonna use heading 1, but that's a little bit too big. Let's come down to 26 pixels. I think that should be fine. Yes, let's also place some padding around our main group. Let's try 45, 54. And to bring on some more content, I'm just gonna place some filler placeholder groups. So yeah, let's set a min width of, let's actually remove the min width and set a height of, let's do 150 for example. Gonna make this a fixed height. And I'm gonna place a stroke here. Let's do roundness of 8, and we're gonna use our stroke color. And we have just a gap filler box. I'm gonna just duplicate them quickly, set them into a row container, and I'm gonna apply some more gap spacing of 24. And also on the group main, I want to apply some gap spacing between the elements of 24. And I'm just gonna copy this group, and we have a little larger group over here. No fixed height, no min height, no max height. Or actually, let's give it another height of, let's say 600. 500 is fine. Yeah, this is not to actually display some information. Again, it's just for placeholder, so you can actually imagine what it would look like. It's super individual to your app, how you're gonna fill that. I'm just gonna refresh this, preview. Yeah, over here in these boxes, you would place maybe some stats, some text, whatever it is that your app requires. And I just discovered one more thing I would like to add, which is when I hover over these groups, I also want to change the background of the group to give the user a visual feedback that this element is clickable. So let's go back to the sidebar, and we're gonna define another condition. So when this group is hovered, we also want to change the background style to flat color and the background color to our primary, but 10% of it. And I'm gonna apply that for every group. So let's see how that looks. Perfect. So yeah, this is not gonna change. It's selected anyways. But yeah, since we hover over these pages, we can now see, okay, this element, we give the user a better feedback. So let's go ahead and create our other pages. We can just go to the dashboard page, and I'm gonna just quickly clone this page by creating a new page. Page name is, let's start with clients. I'm gonna clone that from the dashboard. So we already have the sidebar imported here. Just gonna change that to clients. And instead of this, we maybe have a group like this for the clients, and let's set the height to 80. yeah, we maybe have a list like this of clients over here. Again, you're absolutely free how to fill these pages. Just want to not leave them blank to see that we're actually switching the pages. So clients, I'm gonna also add the projects, which is basically just a clone of clients. And same for the tasks. So let's give our sidebar the functionality to redirect the user. For that, we're gonna go back to our sidebar and first of all, select the dashboard group. You can just add a workflow over here. So when group dashboard is clicked, we want to send the user to the dashboard page. So navigation, go to page, and we're gonna select the dashboard. We're gonna do that for all the groups. Let's see how that works. You also see the cursor is switching, so it's even more an indication that this element is clickable. Let's click on that. Yeah, we have the clients selected, and perfect. The dashboard is unselected. The clients page is selected, and same goes for the projects and the tasks. I just saw that this transition of the hover is a little bit rigid, so we can also go ahead back in the sidebar and make a little twist, which is down here. Select a property to define a new transition. The background style, when it's going to be switched, we want to ease it a little bit, so not change color right away. We want to have some kind of transition. And I think 400 milliseconds should be a good duration. Let's do that to all the elements. Let's see how that looks. Yes, much softer, a little bit like those tiny tweaks to the UI really show that your software is professional and developing with the user in mind. Okay, so I want to add two more parts, which is this lower section. I also want to display in our sidebar the current user. Let's do that by first of all, I'm gonna create a new user. I'm missing some parts over here, so I want to display the user email field is already created, but I also want to display the name of the user, so just name, which is basically a text, and we also display an avatar, so a picture of the user, and that is type image. Create that. And during the sign-up process, we would give the user the option to upload an avatar and also collect their name. So we have their data already there and can display it. But since I want to speed it up over here, I'm just going to go into the app.data and I'm going to, for our example, add a new entry manually. So for the avatar, I have a nice little picture over here. Let's call him Adam Davis. And his email is adam@example.com. I'm gonna create the user. So that we have Adam. Let's now go back to our sidebar and display his information. So I want to display his avatar, so I'm gonna add an image. Call that image avatar. And that's gonna be 40 times 40. And yeah, this is not a fixed image. Whoever is currently logged in, I want to display their avatar, their name, basically all of their information dynamically. And instead of uploading a static image, we're gonna upload a dynamic image. So let's insert dynamic, and that's gonna be current users, avatar, yeah, which is basically already an image. I'm also gonna go ahead and I want to place it in a circular shape. So I'm just gonna add a roundness of 100. And I'm also gonna display his name. That's also not a static text. It is the current user's name. And we're also gonna display the current user's email. I want to have those closer together. So group elements in a column container. And of that one, I'm gonna remove the height. And I'm gonna also fit width to content and then select those together, and those I'm gonna display side by side. So group them inside a row container. And in that group, I'm gonna remove the min height. Let's set it to a fixed height of 44. Also gonna place a padding left and right of 4. That should center align the image and the icon. And let's also give some space in between the image and the text. So apply gap spacing, a column gap of 12 should do it. I also want to go ahead and give this one a semi-bold. I'm gonna place it in a text color. the email down here, it can still be in regular. And I'm also select the unselected colorway. So this group over here, group G, which is the user's information, I'm also gonna center align on our main group, and same with the image. And I wanna display this information at the bottom of our sidebar. So instead of selecting the container alignment, everything on the top, I'm gonna set it to space between. So basically everything spreads out as far as it can, but obviously I don't wanna have this sitting in the middle. So I'm gonna select this group again and the logo, and I'm gonna group it in another column container with a gap spacing of 24. So we now have our menu sitting up here. We have the user's information down here, and let's see how that looks. So we cannot just refresh this page because we're not logged in here. So we have to go to the app data and run it as the user. So whenever that basically simulates as if you would log in as this user. See how that looks? We have to remove the debug mode and we go to our dashboard page. There we go. Looks beautiful, I'd say. So we have the user's avatar, we have the user's name, and also the user's email address. I also want to do one last thing to our sidebar, which is adding a settings option over here. I'm just gonna copy one of those over here, put it down here and move it above our user data. And for that, I'm gonna import some setting icons. So we have settings unselected, settings selected, and I'm gonna change the text to settings. And we have to remember to switch out the conditionals. So current page name is, in this case, settings. Just gonna copy the expression and paste it. This time I'm not gonna forget it. I'm also pasting it to the text and to both of the icons. Also gonna add a little separator shape. So background color, we can just use our stroke color. We're not gonna need a roundness, but we're gonna set the layout. We're gonna use a fixed height of 1 pixel, and we don't need a fixed width. We're just gonna expand to however big our sidebar is. So we have our nice little separator here, and I'm gonna group all of those together. So that's a little bit hard to select. There we go. And I'm gonna create a new column container. And I'm also, for this group over here, set a gap spacing of 20 in this case. That should look good. Yes, let's see how that looks. Beautiful. All right, so if you have built along with me, I hope you're seeing this result right now. We have successfully finished our dashboard with all the different hover states, selected states, unselected states. The user has this navigation, sees the specific content on the sub pages, and also has a little feedback over here that he's currently logged in. And just by that, we have finished our first project here inside of Bubble. And in the next videos, we are going to bring some more life into this app. So stay tuned.